If you're here, you're probably considering some sort of big move, maybe across countries, across the pond, or maybe both. I recently made a major international move myself, relocating across the Atlantic mid career. And what surprised me most wasn't actually the logistics, it was how many assumptions quietly stopped being true. This channel exists to slow those decisions down, to help you, and to ensure that you look at them clearly without hype, fear, and without pretending there aren't real trade offs. Before you jump the pond, it's worth understanding what actually changes. So, everyone talks about the move, and few talk about the trade offs. The new city, the new excitement, that lifestyle shift. Far fewer people talk about the trade offs, especially when the move happens mid career, when the stakes are higher and the margin for error feels smaller. That's the gap that this channel is meant to fill. Even if you stay in the same field, your job changes when you move across borders. Your leverage changes, your negotiating power resets, your risk profile shifts, often in ways that aren't upfront. I didn't change careers when I moved, but I did have to reevaluate how decisions get made, how growth works, and how much control you actually have when you're operating inside a new system. Income doesn't necessarily always equal lifestyle. And one of the biggest misconceptions is that income cleanly maps to the lifestyle that you may have had. It doesn't. Taxes behave incredibly differently. Housing costs hit incredibly differently. Time feels so much different in how it's structured, valued, and protected. So, on paper, things can certainly look equivalent, especially when negotiating the offer, but in practice, they really are. And also, your identity shifts actually before your address does. And another thing I didn't fully anticipate was how early that shift would actually begin, because before the move is finished, I was already thinking about work differently, stability, and what I want next. My aperture and appetite had widened so much that it felt like I didn't know myself anymore. And I stopped operating on autopilot. I became incredibly deliberate, and it happened much sooner than I expected that it would. And, when you think about the decision itself, you really want to make sure that this decision isn't about fear or that you're running away from something. It has to be about an informed choice, because I'm not about discouraging international moves, right? Like that's not the goal, but I also don't want to sell a dream either. Literally a life-changing experience, but this channel is really about sharing what I've learned practically and honestly so that other people like you who are in the same life stage can make clear decisions before committing. You should do it in general, but I think you should have a healthy understanding of what it will take, because some of you may decide that you want to move, some of you will decide that you want to wait, and some will realize that the move isn't really what you need, and it could just be you need to just shift your environment, not necessarily your geographic location. So the goal is simple here. Let's help you understand what actually changes so that if you do jump the pond, you do it incredibly deliberately.